Hi, I'm Ian, and this is Novel Notions, just a show where I talk about books I've read recently. That's it, yeah. Nothing to see here. So this week I want to talk about Decision at This week I want to talk about Decision at This week I want to talk about the book Decision at Thunder. This week I want to talk about a book called Decision at Thunder Rift by William H. Keith Jr. This book is from the BATTLETECH universe. You are probably more familiar with the mech warrior side of BATTLETECH, but I promise you there's so much more for you to dive into. I have recently been in a huge, not even a kick, it's just I've been trying to immerse myself in everything BATTLETECH. All right, I'm rambling enough already. Yeah, I like BATTLETECH. This is about the book though. Let's just go ahead and kick it to review, Ian, because I am rambling far too much right now. Hi, how's it going? Look, I'm drained. This might be a little sloppy. I just need to get this video out, if I'm being honest, because I keep getting tired. But the thing is I'm always tired. Why? I'm a father, and I love that. Today was just one of those days, right? But when wife goes to sleep and kid goes to sleep, dad gets to play. I just have to have the baby monitor on. Plot. That's what we're talking about right now. What is the plot of Decision at Thunder Rift? Decision at Thunder Rift follows a young boy named Grayson Carlisle. He is the son of Durant Carlisle, of the head of Carlisle's Commandos in the BATTLETECH universe. This book opens up and sabotage happens, treason happens, I guess. There is a mole, and the Carlisle's Commandos are taken over by a special force unit. When a deal goes wrong for like a peaceful exchange on the planet of Trellwan, which just for your situational awareness, that is the planet that Carlisle's Commandos headquarters out of and has been responsible for, like for the Lyran Commonwealth. This book follows Grayson as he, I guess, falls, from his initial, station because Carlisle's Commandos are gone. He rises because he becomes somewhat of a local hero after he, with an Inferno launcher, think of like napalm on your shoulder, takes out like two battle mechs. Again, lore down there for battle mechs, big robots, and falls again because there's a double cross, and he is double crossed by people that he thought had supported him, but really there was a military coup. Ultimately, then he rises again. Those were kind of light spoilers. I'm not going to go into the minutia of it. I apologize. I try to make these spoiler free, but again, I'm tired and I just was explaining it and I'm sorry. So yeah, my spoiler free review to conclude the plot section of this video would be, I liked it a lot. I just want to be surrounded, or just I want to marinate in BATTLETECH lore, in BATTLETECH miniatures, in BATTLETECH video games, even Mech Warrior, and I've been doing that for like the last month, and really I have just gained or had experienced so much satisfaction, like so much enjoyment with BATTLETECH. This book is definitely what I would consider true YA. Because it came out in '86, and this is definitely geared towards like I would say like a 14, 15 to like maybe 18-year-old audience. Like it is military action. There are politics sprinkled in, not like it's not the deepest. It's not, I would honestly say in some parts it is. So this book is very small, which is a good thing. We'll get into that when we go into the spoiler review. but it is, it does have the chops in parts to sort of go up to something like A Song of Ice and Fire, right? Game of Thrones. It's just not, this book specifically is just not as widespread, right? You know, we're not talking about the entirety of Westeros. We're talking about, you know, a planet, but a small local government that doesn't even have battle mechs, which is a big part. And like, you know, this mercenary group that just like came, well, just got crushed, like some rebels. So like, it's a very small stage, I guess you could say. Like, it's a very small, like, you know, setting. There's not like, there's players, but it's not something as, you know, epic as George Martin's putting out. So I would say, if I was going to recommend this to you in like a spoiler-free fashion, again, to conclude this, I would say that if you just have a genuine interest in some like military sci-fi action, and you don't mind it being, like I said, it's a little older. This came out in '86. You might like it. I'll also take this moment to say that I think people should just experience more BattleTech and not just the books. BattleTech lore absolutely rivals 40K. Completely different themes, right? You have, you know, effectively they call 40K sci-fi. I don't think it's sci-fi. It's really just like weirder, like just fantasy. Like it's, I guess, science fiction, but it doesn't feel science fiction to me, in my opinion. Where this would be harder sci-fi, right? Like we're talking about, like, it does get political, or like in the overarching universe of BattleTech. Not this story in particular. It has some depth, but like the entirety of BattleTech. Like when we start talking about like the Immerse coup, the Succession Wars, the Clan Invasion, big moments in the BattleTech universe. You know, kind of like Horus Heresy, right? Like the fall of Star League and the Immerse coup would be like the Horus Heresy of BattleTech. However, completely different beasts. I only pitch it to you because if you enjoy Warhammer, you will probably enjoy BattleTech. And BattleTech is far more accessible, in my opinion. Like when it comes to like the tabletop strategy game, when it comes to the lore and even the games, just everything. Spoiler review. Everything past this point, I am just going to talk unfiltered about this book, the good, the bad, but I'm not pulling punches on spoilers. So if you are one of the people that want to watch this, then again, pause, watch later, read it, come back, and then we can have this discussion down below in the comments. Again, like, comment, subscribe as well. Why aren't you? I just talk about books. I'm even writing now. You can talk about writing short stories currently. This is just what I want to do because I want to talk about books I'm reading. Anyway, do the things. You've been warned. Let's get into it. Let's start with the no good. The only thing I can say that I think personally is no good in this book is a lot of world building dumps. Like we're talking about verbose world building in large chunks, right? Like something is going on, okay? Like something in the plot's going on. And then when we reveal part of this world, okay, for instance, one that comes to mind is that they go to a jump ship. And towards the end, it's part of the sort of heist storyline and this final act. And they're going to go and commandeer it from the Draconis Combine, House Kurita. They're like, we're going to go take this thing out. We have to go out and commandeer this thing. And you, as the reader, don't really know what a jump ship is because you don't know what a jump ship is. This is the first book in the BattleTech series. They've never talked to you about the jump ship. I understand that. But when they start explaining the jump ship, they go into quite a bit of detail. And it's, you know, I think it's almost like maybe a page, page and a half of just like explaining the jump ship, how it works, how it's using a Kerensky shield generator, yada yada, or shield generator, fusion reactor, jump drive, whatever. So what ends up happening is just kind of, kind of chops the pace up. Now, to defend it a little bit, this book is by no means the only book to have done this. Actually, I've mentioned before, this came out in 1986, and it's the first book in the BATTLETECH series. A lot of late 80s and early 90s, maybe even into the late 90s, sci-fi, even some fantasy, dumps world building on you. It's honestly thinking about it, I think even definitely Robert Jordan did. It's a little different. It's an epic fantasy. There's 14 books in the series or something like that, right? But it's, just here's your plate and it's spilling over the sides. So this book is by no means the only book that probably did it in its, in its time. Contemporary titles are probably also doing it as well. That doesn't mean it was good, right? I still didn't like that. I'm glad that modern sci-fi and fantasy, for the most part, has steered away from it. I think they just kind of try to trickle it into the sauce, into the chapter to let you experience it, to use your imagination to build that world. Also using less detail. But this book definitely is a product of its time. Let's talk about the good stuff. I've been thinking about how I would explain the stuff I really enjoyed in this book. And there's really plenty to go on about, and I feel like I'm already rambling. But I think the best way I can summarize my feelings towards this book, this story, is by saying that it is what I wanted Rogue One to be. So we're going to take a little tangent for me to say, I think Rogue One is bad, and I mean that. Again, a guy who's trying not to call things bad. I think it is legitimately a bad movie, a bad story. And that's not a conversation necessarily for this video. I know I'm bringing it up and I am, I can already hear someone typing down in the comments below, but Darth Vader was in it. And I'm already triggered. Or they're probably typing, but they all die at the end, so why do we need characters and personalities? Stop. You're wrong. You're already wrong. So I'm not diving into that. I'll just leave it at Rogue One is bad. Don't have me Gary Widow. Okay, we're past the Rogue One part. Why do I say that this book is what I wanted Rogue One to be? Because I wanted Rogue One to be effectively a heist movie, because that would have worked so well. Ocean's 11 in Star Wars. That's all I wanted. I believe that's what everyone wanted, to be truthful. And this isn't exactly that. But the final act, or really what this book and what Grayson is against the whole time, is a much larger force that is far more capable than him. And the book goes through him trying to find and seek out advantages and weaknesses in that force, right? He goes and he steals, I think, 3 mechs from the opposing force, right? From these the other raiders, the rebels, right? Pre-Draconis Combine intervention. And he steals them, and that's a huge boon for him. He becomes a hero for that. However, they're also just 3 light mechs. They're a Locust, a Wasp, and I think he eventually gets a Shadowhawk at the Shadowhawk at the end, which is a medium. That's nothing. That is it's good if you're good with it, but they have to rely on guerrilla warfare. They have to be lean and efficient. And before he even gets to Thunder Rift and they have the fight, which he should have lost, and not should have lost, they had to plan, there was some luck involved, right? They were the underdog the entire time. after that point, you, especially against the Draconis Combined, it just felt really satisfying watching or rather reading about Grayson succeeding. That was fun. And I think that is why, again, this is a YA novel appealing to probably like a 15 to 18-year-old. Grayson is 20 in this book. And he possesses like, you know, pretty stereotypical qualities of what, like, you know, probably an 18 or 20-year-old would try to see in themselves, right? His ability to command and lead was steeped in his training, which his training, like his, his mentor, his teacher, his name's fleeting, but what he had told him is like, you might not know what's going on in this situation. You might not feel, you know, confident yourself, but leaders just have to be confident and have to have a plan. And that's what he effectively did to take down these two mechs. Like, he was honestly running from the law, and he was like, I'm just going to take control of this situation because this is a rudderless ship and I have to be the direction. But aside from Grayson's positive qualities and, you know, honestly, just definitely any male, but I think anyone could read his story and be like, I would like to possess these qualities that Grayson has, even at 20 years old, because he's trying to figure it out too. Like, the whole moment that he is taking control of the situation to take out these mechs, he is stepping up into leadership. He is not confident in himself. He's just doing what he's been taught. I liked that. Everything from the way they were training the Trellwan, you know, militia and loyalists to take on mechs, because they just never had to fight them, and they just didn't have the knowledge, to trying to get mech warriors together and using prisoners and having to convince the higher ups that, like, hey, we need to use the prisoners, to then being double crossed with a military coup and now being blamed for it, if I remember correctly. Like, Grayson struggles and his friends struggle, and in the end, this all coalesces together into a final act where, again, like, Lori and Grayson and Tor, like, these key characters that are going to eventually come up with the Grey Death Legion, which is his mercenary company, which I love the name of because his name's Grayson, so they call him Gray. His middle name is Death, which is actually how it's supposed to be pronounced, but he's like, it sounds badass, so he says Death and Legion. He's like, we're the Grey Death Legion, but it's really just his name. I love stuff like that. Those things make me happy whenever it's just like, oh, no, it has a meaning behind it. That's actually his name. But they all come together to seize the day, to seize the opportunity, and to win in spite of overwhelming odds. And there are multiple times when you're like, oh, they might actually, maybe they will lose. You know they're not going to lose, but like you're like, man, they are getting whooped. They are getting pummeled. How do they win? And they pull it off. And then this book ends, and it is Grayson, I think a couple years after, maybe not, maybe just like a year or so. And he has all of these people that have helped him, right? All of his confidants now, that are taking over and training the Trellwan militia and the people that helped him fight, like the infantry and everything that helped him fight. They have discipline. They're all in their regiment. Like, they are now like fully trained soldiers and mercenaries for the Grey Death Legion. And it just sets up so we can get into Mercenary Star, which I believe is the next one. They go into the next book, an established mercenary group. And I guess that's what I'll say. This book is nothing like groundbreaking. I'm not trying to say that this is like, I mean, it's a work of art, right? Because it's art, but like, it's not supposed to be some like super highbrow, just like blowing your mind sort of story. It's just good. And if you just want, you know what? That's great. In conclusion, BattleTech is a rich universe, a really fun tabletop strategy game, great books, fun video games. It's a universe, this multifaceted or cross IP, however you want to call it, that I just honestly think people kind of sleep on. I think my main goal from this video, while it is talking still about a book I read and a book I enjoyed, would really just to signal boost BattleTech, especially because there is also a genuine interest, it seems like, in tabletop strategy. And I'll be frank, Warhammer is not accessible. It's not. It really, you know what? Better yet, 1 second. BattleTech, when I say it's accessible, it's not just because the books are out there and you can go read them, but the tabletop strategy game of BattleTech, provided you're into it, is really only like $60 to get into, and you can play. Like the Game of Armored Combat box is so just, again, affordable and accessible for you. It has everything you need. It has the rules. It has 8 mechs. It has a primer. It's got everything for you to get into BattleTech, right? So if I take $60 and I want to go and play Warhammer, I have these are the Khazarkins, right? Okay, I have a Khazarkin kill team here. I spent $60 on this. Okay, and this is older. I spent $60 on this, and don't get me wrong, we love the Imperial Guard. We're Imperial Guardsmen in this house. However, this doesn't come with the rules for it, right? This is literally only the troops, right? And they, of course, obviously, it's a miniature game. It's meant to be a hobby. Like, they have to put them together. That's fun. I like painting. But this was $60. This isn't even like a Warhammer army. This is a kill team army. This is a strike group, like a squad, right? You can't play this in actual Warhammer. You'd have to supplement it with a lot more, even if you can. I haven't looked into it far enough because I bought this, realized that I had to buy like the codex, which I understand. Oh yeah, you can go pirate that stuff. You can go and like just, that's not the point, because someone had to buy it. Okay, like the rules had to get purchased by somebody to put them onto the internet. The lore for Warhammer is awesome. One of the best worlds out there. But Games Workshop does nothing to make it more accessible to more people, because they don't have to, unfortunately. And that sucks. So I really just think people should just give BattleTech a try in whatever capacity they would like. Harebrained Schemes came out with a great video game, a BattleTech video game that you can get on Steam. It is a lot of fun. BattleTech rules. People should give BattleTech a shot. And this book was a lot of fun, just genuine fun. And I just really appreciate BattleTech for existing, because, like, again, life has been hectic for me. A lot has changed this last year for me. Again, I'm on daddy duty all the time. And whether it is painting my mechs, whether it's reading about mechs, whether it's playing the BattleTech video game, or talking to you about BattleTech, I just genuinely am happy about it. And I'm really, really glad that it exists. So I just hope that you could maybe enjoy that too. And really, I just hope you have something that you enjoy this much. BattleTech rules. I'm Ian, and I approve that message. So those are my thoughts on Decision at Thunder Rift. Overall, I really enjoy BattleTech. I think BattleTech is, again, just so criminally slept on, especially in a world where most people talk about really Warhammer and Warhammer 40k and no other tabletop strategy games. It's absolutely accessible, and then the universe is so rich, and it's just so much fun to indulge in. So if you want, I'm pretty sure you can get these books pretty cheap through Catalyst Game Labs. and you can just enjoy them. At the end of the day, if you're looking for a sci-fi fantasy, a sort of Game of Thrones in space macro story, I would definitely jump on this bandwagon. I will talk to you later. Have a great rest of your week or weekend, wherever you watch this, and I'll see you later. Bye.